I am K.Kavitha, Assistant Professor of Computer Science, A.D.M College for Women, Nagapattinam. Software testing, software development life cycle, phases of SDLC, requirement specification and analysis, design, coding, testing, implementation, maintenance. Requirement specification analysis are two types: user requirement specification, software requirement specification. First one, design. The output of SRS is the input of design phases. There are two types of design: high level design and low level design. First one, high level design, which means list of modules and a brief description of each module, brief functionality of each module, interface relationship among modules, dependency between modules, that is A exists between the B exists, etc. Database tables identified along with key elements, overall architecture diagrams along with technology details. Low level design, that means detailed functional logic of the module in pseudocode, database table with all elements including their types and size, all interface details, all dependency issues, error message listing, complete input and output for a module. The design process, that means breaking down the product into independent modules to arrive at micro levels. There are two types of approaches followed in designing: top-down approach and bottom-up approach. This is the picture of top-down approach and this is the picture of bottom-up approach. Coding. Coding is developers use the LLD document and write the code in the programming language specified. Testing. Testing means the testing process involves development of a test plan, executing the plan and documenting the test results. Implementation. Installation of the product in its operational environment. Maintenance. After the software is released and the client starts using the software, maintenance phase is started. There are three things happen in maintenance. First one, bug fixing, upgrade, enhancement. Bug fixing means bugs arrived due to some untested scenarios. Upgrade, that means upgrading the application to the newer version of the software. Enhancement, that means adding some new features into the existing software. There are different levels of testing. There are testing levels: unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing. First one, unit testing, that means the most micro scale of testing. Test done on particular functions or code modules. Requirement knowledge of the internal program design and code done by the programmer, not by the tester. Unit testing. There are objectives, well, input and output. Objectives, that means to test the function of your program or unit of code such as a program or module. To test internal logic. To verify internal design. To test for and conditions coverage. To test exception, condition and error handling. When after modules are coded. Input, internal application design, master plan design, unit test plan. Output, unit test report. Who? Developer. Method, white box testing techniques, test coverage techniques. Tools, debug, destructure, code analyzer, path, statement and coverage tools. Education, testing methodology, effective use of tools. Incremental integration testing, continuous testing of the application as and when a new functionality is added. Applications, functionality aspects are required to be independent enough to work separately before completion of development, which is done by a programmer or tester. Integration testing, testing of combined parts of an application to determine their function correctness. Parts means it can be a code module, individual applications or client server application on a network. There are three types of integration testing. There are big bang testing, top-down integration testing, bottom-up integration testing. Integration testing, objective to technically verify proper interfacing between modules and within subsystems, which is after modules are unit tested. Input, there are internal and external application, master test plan, integration test plan. Output, integration testing report. Who, which is developer. Method, white box and black box techniques, problem configuration and management. Tools, which is debug, restructure, code analyzer. Education, testing methodology and effective use of tools. System testing, objectives to verify that the system components perform control functions. to perform inter-system test to demonstrate that system performs both functionally and operationally as specified. To perform appropriate type of testing related transaction flow, installation, reliability, regression and etc. Which is after integration testing. Input, that is detailed requirement and internal application, master test plan, system test plan. Output, system test report. Who, which is development team and user. Method, that is problem configuration management. Tools, recommended set of tools. Education, testing methodology and effective use of tools. System integration testing. To test the coexistence of product and application that are required to perform together in the productional like operational environment, that is hardware, software and network, to ensure that the system functions together with all the components of its environment as a tool system, to ensure that the system release can be deployed in the current environment when after system testing often performed outside of a project life cycle. Input, test strategy, master test plan, system integration testing plan. Output, system integration test report. Who, the system tester. Method, which is a white box and black box techniques. Problem and configuration management. Tools, recommended set of tools. Education, testing methodology and effective tools, use of tools. Acceptance testing, that is the objective to verify that the system meets the user requirements when after system testing input business needs and detailed requirements. Master test plan, user acceptance test plan. Output, the user acceptance test report. Who, the user and end user. Methods, black box and white box. Problem configuration management. Tools, compare, keystroke and playback regression testing. Education, testing methodology, effective use of tools, product knowledge, business release strategy. Testing methodologies and its types. Testing methodology, there are 4 types of testing methodology: black box testing, white box testing, incremental testing and last one is thread testing. First one, black box testing, that means no knowledge of internal design or code requirements. Tests are based on requirements and functionality. White box testing, that means knowledge of the internal program design and code required. Tests are based on coverage of code, statements, branches, path and conditions. Black box testing techniques: incorrect or missing function, interface errors, error in data structure or internal database access, performance errors, initialization and termination error. Black box and functional testing, which is based on requirement and functionality, not based on any knowledge of internal design or code. It's cover all combined parts of a system. Tests are data driven. White box testing and structural testing, which is based on knowledge of internal logic of an application code, which is based on coverage of code, statement, branches, path and conditions, which is test or logic driven. White box testing. White box testing techniques: all independent parts within a model have been exercised at least once. Exercise all logical design on their true and false side, which is execute all loops at their boundaries and within their operational bounds. Exercise internal data structures to ensure their validity. Loop testing. This white box technique focus on the validity of loop construct. There are 4 different classes of loop can be defined. There are simple loop, nested loop, concatenated loop and unstructured loop. Other white box techniques: statement coverage, design coverage, condition coverage, design and condition coverage and multiple condition coverage. First one, statement coverage, that means execute all statements at least once. Design coverage means execute each design direction at least once. Condition coverage means execute each design with all possible outcomes at least once. Design and condition coverage means execute all possible combination of condition outcomes in each design. Multiple condition coverage means which is invoke each point of entry at least once. Incremental testing, a disciplined method of testing the interfaces between unit test program as well as between system components, which involve adding unit test program, module or component one by one and testing each result and combination. There are 2 types of incremental testing: top down and bottom up. First one, top down, which means testing form the top of the module, that is hierarchy, and work down the bottom. Modules are added in designing hierarchical order. Bottom up, that means testing from the bottom of the hierarchy and works upon to the top. Modules are added in ascending hierarchical order. Thank you.